choke, no joke. Let's go. Choke, no joke. Chicken choke, no joke. Choke, no joke. Niggas choke, no joke.
Thank you. Is there other cross-examination of Mr. Sledge? All right, come on.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
I'd like to ask you, if you don't mind, to lock in on June 9th, Sunday, 2024, if you can. Do you remember being located at a Starbucks in Fayetteville, Georgia?
Yes.
And the gentleman who is seated in the first row here, the nice-looking young man in the who's now smiling, can you tell, ladies and gentlemen, Jerry, who that person is to you?
My attorney?
Okay, and he has a great reputation.
Yes.
And he's been with you, you said, approximately 15 years. And when I say with you, representing you, and he knows you and your family personally.
Yes.
He has become a lawyer for you, but also a friend to you. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And his name is the Honorable Derek Wright. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. And he was kind enough to put us on a Zoom call at my request. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And that was shortly after, in fact, it was later on Sunday, June 9th, 2024. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And during that call, I identified myself as Mr. Jeffrey Williams' lawyer. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
All right. And you told me, as well as your lawyer, that you met earlier that day with Prosecutor Love.
Yes.
And in
I sent you the email a while ago.
There was changes during the meeting.
Kelsey,
Can you
please check my
update me? Where's the
messages.
file?
Can you
I need to get an
please
update.
third row back, smiling as well.
Yes.
Okay. And she identified herself as a coworker to District Attorney Love. Is that right?
Yes.
And you freely went there to meet on your own time in Fayette County, right?
Yes.
And you did that to be courteous. Is that
Yes.
fair to say?
Yes.
And you did that because it's also, you knew you were going to testify and you wanted to tell the district attorney's office any information that they wanted to hear, right?
Yes.
And you also want to learn from them what it's like to testify. Is that all fair to say?
Yes.
And you said earlier on your, it's called a direct examination. It doesn't matter what it's called. When you were being questioned by Ms. Love, you said that she had a cell phone with her. You remember that?
Yes.
Either a laptop, an iPad, or some sort of device.
Yes.
And was she taking notes? Do you remember?
I think she wrote some on her notepad. I don't know what she wrote, but I know she wrote some on her notepad.
And I want to go over with you a couple things that you tell the jurors, whether it's true. And then my second question is going to be whether you told District Attorney Love that, okay?
Yes.
When I say that, I'm talking about Wednesday, June 9th, Sunday, June 9th, 2024 at Starbucks, okay?
Yes.
Do you remember telling with your lawyer there and the investigator at District Attorney's Office and District Attorney Love that shortly before, days before, the God forbid death of Donovan Thomas,
Yes.
you and a gentleman named Brian Williams, known as Birdman, do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes.
And others, including Jeffrey,
Yes.
were all together,
Yes.
and you were outside in the parking lot of TIG Studios.
If I'm mistaken, I want to say it was TI Studio, not TIG.
That's fine.
Yes.
And you were having a good time.
Yes.
When you told District Attorney Love that you were with Donovan Thomas and Jeffrey, did you make it known that there was no animosity? That's a bad word. Let me change it. Let me ask a different question, okay? Did you make it known that everyone was having a good time?
Yes.
Did you see any type of argument or spat or anger from Jeffrey towards Mr. Thomas?
No.
Did you see any anger or spat or argument from Mr. Thomas towards Jeffrey?
No.
In fact, you observed they were friendly, right?
Yes.
You knew they were good friends, right?
Yes.
You knew that Jeffrey really cared for Donovan Thomas. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to this witness's ability to know, that would be speculation.
You can ask something foundational.
Okay. Did you observe, from your observations, did you observe that Jeffrey liked Donovan Thomas?
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor, that's still possible.
It's sustained.
Did you observe from your observations the demeanor is a bad word too. Did you observe that there was friendship between the two of them?
Objection, Your Honor, that's still
There, rephrase, please, sustained.
Let me ask you this. When you told that to District Attorney Love, was your lawyer right there at the same Starbucks?
Yes.
Was he there at the same table?
Yes.
Do you remember sitting outside the Starbucks?
Yes.
Okay. Did you see District Attorney Love make any notes when you told her that?
No.
I noticed she didn't ask you about that. Do you remember her asking? Maybe I missed it. Did she ask you about that when her 3 days of questioning you?
No.
Let me ask you this. When you were at that Starbucks on that Sunday, June 9, 2024, in the afternoon hours, do you remember telling District Attorney Love that on the evening after Donovan Thomas was, God forbid, shot, so it's January 10th, 2015. That's the date I'm locking on, okay?
Yes.
You remember telling her that you were at Jeffrey's home
Yes,
and Kenneth Copeland was there,
yes,
among other people,
yes,
and Jeffrey was there.
yes,
And at some time, Kenneth Copeland was receiving calls or received a call from the police saying that he was a suspect in this murder or the shooting of Donovan Thomas. Is that fair to say?
yes,
And that Jeffrey or Mr. Copeland was asking, what do I do? Do you remember that?
yes,
And Jeffrey said to Mr. Copeland, if you had nothing to do with the killing, you should go and talk to the police.
yes,
And you told District Attorney Love that, right?
yes,
In front of the Honorable Derek Wright, your lawyer,
yes,
in front of, or I don't know if she's paying attention. I'm not saying she was, but the investigator was around.
she was there.
And do you remember District Attorney Love telling you that she would prefer if you don't state to the jury that Jeffrey told you to take Mr. Copeland to the police department if he was not involved in the murder?
Yes,
Did you ask why?
no, I never asked why.
Now, you also said, and it's the truth, and if
Yes.
it's not, you correct it, that you were very close with Donovan Thomas.
Yes,
In fact, your relative, I think cousin, but tell the jurors if I'm wrong, dated Donovan Thomas's relative.
yes,
And Donovan Thomas is close with your mother.
yes,
And you told District Attorney Love that.
yes,
Now, you were asked by District Attorney Love whether you remember anything else anyone said regarding the murder of Donovan Thomas on the night of January 10th, 2015, going into January 11th, 2015. Do you remember that question by any chance?
no, not actually. I don't remember that question.
Okay. Do you remember Jeffrey being distraught? That's a bad word. Being upset or sad at the shooting of Mr. Thomas.
Yes,
Do you remember?
Your Honor, I object. That calls for speculation about
Rephrase.
Mr. Williams.
Do you remember ever seeing Jeffrey put out a post, rest in
Objection,
peace,
Your Honor.
about Mr.
Objection,
Donovan
Your
Thomas's
Honor. If
death?
I ask an objection, I'm saying to stop an improper question about putting facts not in evidence. Mr. Steele knew that that is putting facts not in evidence. And I would ask not only that the court strike the question, but admonish Mr. Steele to not put facts improperly not in evidence before this jury.
Okay, can you ask them foundational questions, please?
Sure.
And Your Honor, any post made by defendant Williams.
So you're not talking about that evening, are you?
Yes, ma'am. I'm talking about the morning hours of January 11th, 2015.
All
The
right,
gentleman,
we may need to take this up outside the presence of the jury.
well, I'll come back to it then.
All right,
Let me ask you some questions. In front of you, is State's Exhibit number 444Y there by any chance? It is it's entitled, it's on the letterhead of the Office of the Fulton County District Attorney. It's dated December 27, 2022. Do you see that document?
yes,
And it should be 7 pages long?
yes,
Okay. If you can turn to page 3 of 7, I want to ask you some questions about this document. And this is the same document that you've been asked about by Ms. Love, by the Honorable Attorney Sharp, right?
yes,
Okay. Now, at the time of entering this guilty plea, December 28th, right before New Year's of 2022, right after Christmas, right?
Yes.
All right. I want to go through the factual acknowledgments. And I'm specifically focusing on Jeffrey, okay?
Yes.
Number one, it's on page 3 of 7. Do you remember acknowledging and signing, and the jurors heard and watched your guilty plea before Judge Glanville?
Yes.
You saw that too, okay. Number one, Young Slime Life, AKA YSL, is an organization made up of 3 or more members or associates who share common identifiers that include, but are not limited to, colors, hand signals, and terminology, who have committed crimes intended to increase notoriety, street credibility, and reputation of YSL. You see that?
Yes.
And that's, of course, your initial,
Yes.
the A and the S. Okay. Tell the ladies and gentlemen jury about Jeffrey. Focus on Jeffrey. What did Jeffrey benefit
Objection.
from
cause respect.
any type?
Objection.
Let me hear the question. All right, don't answer the question yet, okay?
I got you.
What's the question?
From your personal knowledge, when you sign this, tell the jury what Jeffrey benefited
That's outside
From-
of the witness's knowledge.
from his personal observation. It's his acknowledgement that the state introduced.
What, that actually did not introduce these parts.
They read this.
They did. Rephrase your question.
Okay. When you sign that, do you have any evidence to share with this jury
No.
that Jeffrey,
No. Rephrase your question.
did Jeffrey, when you signed that, were you talking about Jeffrey Williams?
No.
Number one, I'm still on number one, I just read, okay? When you were sworn before Judge Glanville, sworn means you take an oath to tell the truth, okay? Remember
Yes.
that?
Yes.
You were asked questions, right?
Yes.
Did Prosecutor Love ever ask you, tell us what Jeffrey Williams did?
No.
At that point in time, you wanted to go home, right?
Yes.
You would have answered all questions.
Objection.
Right.
1 calls for speculation. 2.
Number 2 on page 3 of 7.
Yes.
States 444Y. It reads that you have been a member or, it says, and/or associate of YSL since 2012, right?
Yes.
Now, you told the jury that anyone can join YSL. Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, if I just today said, I want to get a tattoo of YSL on my face, is that a problem?
No.
Objection made, whether or not it's a problem.
Is there any type that you know about, like beat-in or initiation to say I'm with YSL?
No.
Do you know personally from your travels, from going to shows and concerts and tours, are people from all over America and throughout the world having tattoos of YSL,
I've seen a couple of fans. Yes.
wearing shirts YSL,
Yes.
hats,
Yes.
tattoos of Jeffrey on their person?
Yes.
On issue 3 of that same document, it should read, while associated with YSL and to support and express loyalty to YSL, you, co-defendant Mr. Garlington, and Mr. Zachary appeared in a video, and then there's a parenthesis that says the video, with another person, AS, wherein you brandished a weapon used in a drive-by shooting, and wherein on behalf of YSL, you threatened to harm a person named Kel, a rival gang member who had begun a relationship with your ex-paramour or girlfriend. You see that?
Yes.
Were you asked any questions about what Jeffrey knew about that?
No,
He knew nothing to your knowledge, right?
Objection, Your Honor, speculation.
Sustained.
On your personal knowledge,
Objection, it was still called for speculation.
on your personal
really-
knowledge, if you, did you ever speak with the prosecution? Did they ever want to know, what did Jeffrey Williams know about that?
Objection, one, that calls for speculation. Two, I can approach, Your Honor, because that,
Okay, I mean, it doesn't, that one does not call for speculation, but if you have some other issues. then
I don't
I'll
need to
go
approach,
ahead.
Your Honor. I'm going to continue.
approach, Your Honor, because I have an objection that I need to put on the record.
Okay.
I would rather not stop because that's all Ms. Love does. I'd rather continue. I'll waive that.
Well, we're gonna approach. All right, go ahead, Mr. Wait, sorry, we need to get Mr. Sledge back in. Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, I ask that the comment, that's what Ms. Love does, be stricken from the record.
We can strike that. All right, go ahead, Mr. Steele.
Mr. Sledge, on number 3 that we were just talking about,
yes,
on the same document,
yes,
during your time before Judge Glanville entering the plea and Ms. Love was asking you questions,
yes,
saw the video, audio of that as well.
yes,
Did Ms. Love ever ask you anything about Jeffrey at that point?
no,
And you were under oath at that point,
yes,
and you were going to answer questions if asked, right?
yes,
I'd like to go to number 4, same page.
yes,
On or about April 28th, 2015, as reflected in Fulton County indictment number, and I'm not going to read it, but it ends in 8994. You know what you see what I did?
yes,
I just skipped the first bunch of numbers and letters. You and fellow YSL associates, Mr. Garlington and Mr. Zachary, committed a drive-by shooting using a firearm, the firearm that you wielded in the video referenced in part 3 of this section, targeting family members of a rival gang. You see that?
yes,
Okay, and you initialed that, obviously.
yes,
And again, did Ms. Love ask you any questions on December 28, 2022, under oath in front of a court reporter on video, audio about Jeffrey?
no,
Number 5, same page, same document. You and your fellow YSL associates committed the drive-by shooting referenced in section 3 and 4 above on behalf of YSL and to increase the notoriety, reputation, and fear of YSL, okay?
Yes.
Were you asked anything on December 28, 2022 about Jeffrey?
No.
You would have answered questions asked, right?
Yes.
By this time, April 28, 2015, if you personally know, did Jeffrey launch a tour across the United States of America with Travis Scott?
I think it was around that time. If I'm not mistaken. I'm not for sure.
You went on part of that tour?
Did I go on board? Yes.
On part of the tour?
Yes.
And you told the jurors what it's called. Do you remember what you called it?
The rodeo tour.
With the court's permission and your permission, I'd like to approach you with a document, okay?
Yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Ms. Winfrey, may I approach and get that document?
I would like to know what document it is.
I'm sure he'll show you.
Your Honor, this has already been shown to the state, it's been previously marked, partially admitted as on 1/8/24, so it'll be January 8th, 2024. It's Mr. Williams, exhibit number 19.
All right, I'm not sure what you mean by partially admitted.
Parts of it were admitted.
Okay, are you
Not-
going to admit
yes.
for the admission of the rest of it?
Yes, I'm going to see if Mr. Sledge can identify it. Thank you.
You may.
Yes.
I'm going to show you an item, and I added that earlier, so that's just called an exhibit sticker.
Yeah.
But if you can look at that, you can open it up. Just tell me if you recognize it, and if it is accurate. If you don't recognize it, that's fine, and we will. We're going to put it aside, okay?
Yeah, I remember this.
And what is that document, which I believe is number 19 of Jeffrey Williams?
This is the
Put it
booklet.
down until it's admitted.
Okay, I'm sorry.
No, that's
This,
okay.
this the booklet of the tour on what days and what areas that we was in.
Okay. And is it look to your memory to be accurate? Meaning, has it been changed in any way? Has it been altered, or does it look similar to the way that you saw it when you went on that tour?
It looked the same.
Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams. It's number 19.
Your Honor, pursuant to 21-801. I object on the grounds of hearsay.
For what purpose is this being offered?
The purpose of showing the cities and the states for the certain tour.
And the dates?
That's what it is.
And
That's all it
that
is.
part, Your Honor, that
Uh-huh.
he's describing is already in. Just that portion.
It's there. That's the official tour guide to that tour.
Your Honor, can I get the testifying, but there is a portion we can show the court.
Okay, well, I may need to see it myself then, because I don't know what
Okay,
might
approach.
be problematic, yes.
Yes.
Can you hand it to me? Anybody else have it up here?
I need to,
I think Mr. Steele should probably come up also.
do I need to step out?
Yes.
May I approach, Your Honor?
You may. So the portion for the ruling is that it was already in, is in.
Sledge, may I approach you?
Yes,
I'm turning to the third page, full page of turning to the sixth page, if you were counting both sides, of Mr. Williams' number 19. Do you see any dates of that rodeo tour?
yes,
And can you tell the ladies and gentlemen jury, just read it to them, if you don't mind, the date and the city of the tour?
I'll wait from the top to the bottom.
Entirety of the tour dates?
Sure.
Do you want to just post that page?
I don't have it on,
Okay.
Your Honor,
Yes.
also, this witnesses, basis for knowledge of the specific dates, we would object unless there is a foundation laid for that.
Okay, well, he said he went on parts of this tour and was familiar with the tour.
Mr.
So
Slade,
overruled.
do you feel comfortable doing that? And if not, just,
Yes, I can read you the dates and,
actually, Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
May I approach you, sir?
yes,
Would you mind if I read along with you?
yes,
Okay, you just tell me if you can put it down. I don't have very good eyes.
me neither.
All right, I'm going to start here, okay?
Yes,
Saturday, February 28, 2015,
yes,
Santa Ana, California.
yes,
March,
15,
Sunday, March 1, 2015. You see that?
yes,
Santa Ana, California show day.
yes,
Monday, March 2nd, Tucson, Arizona show day.
yes,
Yes.
I don't know if there's a question, and I would object to Mr. Smith.
Could we maybe give a summary of it?
Okay. Then the next one is the next day. It's a travel day, right?
yes,
And then it's March 4th, 2015. Denver, Colorado show.
With Georgia Pathways, you may be eligible for free healthcare that gets you covered.
So
This is
he's
in evidence.
he's confirming the dates. I mean, Mr. Steele is not testifying, so that's overruled.
Saturday, March 7, 2015, Chicago, Illinois.
Yes,
Show day in Rochester, New York as well.
yes,
Sunday, March 8th, 2015, Chicago, Illinois, a show day.
yes,
Monday, March 9th, 2015, Detroit, Michigan, a show day.
yes,
Tuesday, March 10th, 2015, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, a show day.
yes,
Wednesday, March 11th, 2015, Buffalo, New York, a show.
yes,
Thursday, March 12th, 2015, New York, New York, a show
yes.
or a concert.
What month are you gonna get to before the list is over with? I mean, is there, can we just say there were show dates pretty much constantly between X date and Y date?
Sure. It goes up to, is it fair to say, consistently through April 3, 2015. Is that true?
Yes,
And the cities that we left off at include Philadelphia, Pennsylvania,
yes,
Washington, D.C.,
yes,
Norfolk, Virginia,
yes,
Charlotte, North Carolina,
yes,
the great city of Atlanta, great state of Georgia,
yes,
New Orleans, Louisiana,
yes,
Austin, Texas,
yes,
San Marcos, Texas,
yes,
Houston, Texas,
yes,
Dallas, Texas,
yes,
Phoenix, Arizona,
yes,
San Diego, California,
yes,
Los Angeles, California,
yes,
San Francisco, California,
yes,
Seattle, Washington,
yes,
Portland, Oregon,
yes,
Boise, Idaho,
yes,
travel home.
yes.
Okay. Now, and if you need to see it, just let us know. Madam Court Reporter. Knowing Jeffrey Williams since about 2009 when you were released from prison
Yes,
and seeing him on tour throughout our country, how much time did he spend committing crimes on
Objection,
Cleveland Avenue?
objection. Wholly improper and speculation and speaking as to a legal conclusion, committing crimes that this witness should not.
Sustained.
Did District Attorney Love, he was having you, or you agreed, sign that on April 28, 2015, it's number 5, that this drive-by shooting on April 28, 2015 was done on behalf of YSL to increase the notoriety, reputation, and fear of YSL. How many questions did she ever ask you at that time you were entering the plea, sworn under oath, about Jeffrey Williams?
The number of questions that were not asked about a specific defendant. It's irrelevant how many times he's asked. The jury has seen what happened and what he asked.
Sustained.
By April of 2015, how wildly popular from your personal observation was Jeffrey Williams?
Objection, relevance,
Overruled.
very popular.
and
When you went to all of these cities throughout America with Jeffrey, how many fans would come?
objection, speculation, and relevance.
I mean, if he can estimate it, overruled on relevance.
20s to 30s, 1,000, a lot of people. I can,
Were these concerts held in arenas?
yes,
Number 6, it's on page 3, it goes into page 4, okay? Same document,
page 6.
going into, it's number 6. It's on the
Oh,
bottom of page 3,
okay, yeah.
same document. It's
Yes.
going to go into the next page, okay?
Yes,
You admitted committing and was convicted of aggravated assault and participation in criminal street gang activity, among other charges, and it goes on to the next page, for your participation in the drive-by shooting, and it says reference in 3, 4, and 5 above, meaning the April 28, 2015, right?
yes,
Okay. Number 7, it says that you were told by another YSL associate that immediately after the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., YSL associates met at the McDonald's on Cleveland Avenue in Atlanta, Georgia to discuss the murder, right?
yes.
Anyone ever ask you any evidence that Jeffrey was at the McDonald's?
Objection, improper question as to evidence. Did anyone ever ask?
Sustained.
Did Miss Love on December 28th of 2022 ask you, was Jeffrey at the McDonald's?
Objection, again, one relevance. The jury has heard and seen what was asked, and it's not relevant and an improper question.
Oh, that's overruled.
So
Okay, so the entirety of the plea transcript is not actually in there. I don't know, what number are we on right now? 6?
7.
7?
Yes.
So,
7 is in there.
okay, but we don't have the entirety of it. Overruled.
Did District Attorney Love ask you on December 28th of 2002, was Jeffrey at the McDonald's?
No,
You have any evidence that Jeffrey was at this McDonald's?
Objection as to that question.
Sustained.
Do you know personally, or what you were told is reference in number 7, was Jeffrey at this McDonald's?
no,
Number 8, you personally know that one or more YSL associates committed the murder of Donovan Thomas on behalf of Jeffrey. That's what you signed, right?
yes,
Okay. Do you have any personal knowledge that Jeffrey Williams committed the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr.
no,
in any fashion?
no,
You know what a party to a crime is? You know what that means?
Overruled.
yes,
Was Jeffrey,
Overruled.
do you have any information?
I mean, I'm sorry, sustained, sorry. You may not ask that
I've
question.
been
It
saying-
just feels like, yes. Sorry, my bad, my bad.
He said overruled.
Sorry.
All right, number 9. You see where I am, number 9?
Yes,
January 10th, 2015. After the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr., you and other YSL associates gathered at the home of Jeffrey Williams, AKA Young Thug, who gave you and other YSL associates cash money to lay low. You see that?
yes,
You already told the jury, you made it clear that Jeffrey did give you $300. True?
yes,
Because you feared for the safety of yourself and your family, right?
yes,
Did anybody fire weapons, bullets into your home where you were living on June 10th, 2015, or the 11th, or the 12th, or the 13th?
no,
And then even after you received these, I think you called it anonymous statements that you and Mr. Copeland killed Donovan Thomas, you used some word. It was from an account on social media.
yes.
What was your word?
The DM,
Yeah. Was it from what'd you say?
a fake page.
Fake page. Okay. When you got that though, you made it clear that that bothered you because you didn't want anything to happen to your significant other or your child or anybody, right?
Yes,
Including yourself.
yes,
And you didn't have money at that time because you lost money gambling. Is that true?
yes,
And you asked Jeffrey and he gave you money for a hotel, right?
yes,
And the expression lay low, I know you said it was to get your family members out of harm's way. I think that's what you said.
Yes.
But lay low could mean the same, doesn't it?
Yes.
It wasn't any type of lay low from the police or anything, right?
No.
It was be safe.
Yes.
Do you have any information, personal knowledge to share with the jury that Jeffrey gave any money to anyone as a reward for killing Donovan Thomas?
Objection, Your Honor, that would call for speculation and hearsay as to the reward part.
Overruled. And I actually mean overruled.
No.
I'm going to go to number 10, if you don't mind. Same document, page 4. That you have personal knowledge that on January 10, 2015, after the murder of Donovan Thomas, YSL associates traveled to Miami, Florida, with co-defendant and YSL founder Jeffrey Williams, aka Young Thug. I want to talk to you about that, okay?
Yes.
Now, you made it clear that you knew that Jeffrey Williams was already going to Miami, Florida for a video music shoot. Is that, when I say shoot, filming it, is that true?
Yes.
And you knew that this was already set up before January 10th, 2015, right?
Yes.
And you knew other people were allowed to go if they wanted to,
Yes.
that Jeffrey was generous. He would take people outside of that.
Objection, Your Honor, as to character evidence that is going to.
Sustained, rephrase.
Jeffrey Williams gave people the opportunity to leave Cleveland Avenue area and see other parts of America. Is that true?
As to relevance, whether or not Mr. Williams gave anybody else an opportunity to do something.
Sustained.
Mr. Williams gave you opportunity to go, right?
Yes.
And others.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor.
Was there anything that on the 28th day of December 2022 that you were asked as to why this was somehow criminal, that Jeffrey had this meeting, this work in Miami, Florida?
Objection, Your Honor.
Sustained.
Were you asked? Were you asked any questions by District Attorney Love, Judge Glanville, or anyone, whether that going down to Miami, Florida, was not pre-planned?
No.
Number 11 says that you did not murder Donovan Thomas Jr. and you're not a party to that crime. That's true, right?
Yes.
Number 12, that you did not murder Mr. Drinks and not party to a crime. True?
Yes.
Okay. Number 13, on the bottom of that page, it says, you cannot truthfully assert that the persons charged in this indictment with the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. are not guilty of murder, and you will make no attempt at trial, prior to trial or after trial, to exonerate the persons charged in this indictment with the murder of Donovan Thomas Jr. You see that?
Yes.
Now, you've read this indictment. You've had it because you were charged in this case. Is that true?
Yes.
Are you familiar still with this indictment?
Yes.
Okay. Well, if you need it, with the court's permission, I have a copy if you need to see it. But you're not charged with the murder of Donovan Thomas in this indictment, are you?
No, not in this indictment.
Okay. And you're not, and Jeffrey's not charged with the murder of Donovan Thomas in this indictment, right?
No.
You're not charged with the murder of Mr. Drinks in this indictment, are you?
No.
And Jeffrey's not charged with the murder of Mr. Drinks.
No.
If you go to page 5, it's the top of page number 14. The gas station at 151 Cleveland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, is one of multiple locations where YSL associates sell drugs and do not allow other gangs to operate. You see that?
Yes.
And then I'm just grouping it together because they look similar to me. So if they're not, you just correct me. Number 15, the gas station at 221 Cleveland Avenue, Atlanta, Georgia, is another location where YSL associates sell drugs and do not permit other gangs to operate, right?
Yes.
Were you ever asked any questions about Jeffrey selling drugs at either of these items?
I object on the grounds that Mr. Steele has no good faith basis for asking that question, given the fact that he does have the entirety of what was asked, and he does know the entirety of what was asked. And so therefore, one, it's not relevant, but two, he doesn't even have a good faith basis for asking. So if we want to get in the entirety of what was asked, I would ask that the court just simply, if he wants that in, to have him tender it, but not to ask questions that he knows he doesn't have a good faith basis to ask.
I don't know what that means. It was not asked. And I'm asking the gentleman whether he was ever asked that. On the record, off the record, it's not there.
Okay. I don't know if you meant on the record or off the record, but I'm going to permit it. Go ahead.
That have anything to do with Jeffrey?
No.
Were you asked anything from
No.
District Attorney Love when she had you under oath in a courtroom with your lawyer before Judge Glanville?
No.
Number 15. You have personal knowledge that you and other members of YSL have either participated in, directly committed, or at least one of the following crimes in order to increase notoriety and reputation of YSL: murder, armed robbery, aggravated assault, attempted murder, theft, illegal gun possession, and illegal drug and sales. Were you ever asked anything about Jeffrey on December 28th, 2022, when you entered this plea?
No.
Now, you have been prosecuted before this case. By prosecuted, I mean you've been arrested, charged, and brought before a judge, right?
Yes.
Okay. Have you ever, in your experience, have you ever been told that your plea agreement is conditioned on what you say at a trial?
No.
Have you ever been told by a prosecutor that she'd prefer you not say things in front of a jury?
Your Honor, I object on the basis of relevance and relevance.
Relevance in what? I'm sorry, did you say something else?
Yes, the question was, have you ever been told by a prosecutor something? So I object on the basis of relevance. I'll stop there.
Mr. Steele, would you like to address that?
Sure. Goes to the motivation, interest, and bias of the district attorney in this case.
Well, that's not an issue.
It always is an issue. Telling a
The
witness not
bias
to
of
do
this
something.
witness, maybe. Is that what you mean to say?
It's a party opponent.
No, sir, that's not how that works. So if that's your only justification for it, then granted. I mean, sustained.
Okay, I want to talk with you about some items. When you met Jeffrey, he was approximately 17 years of age. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And it's about 2009.
Yes.
And the way you remember 2009 is because you were in prison and then was released in about 2009. Is that true?
Yes.
And then you went over and found a place to live on Cleveland Avenue.
Yes.
So you met people who were in that area. Is that fair to say?
Yes.
And Jeffrey was at times in that area, right?
Yes.
Did you observe Jeffrey working hard?
Objection vague.
Okay.
Sustained.
Did you observe Jeffrey practicing his craft, art, music?
Yes,
Did you see him in the studio? You ever see him in a studio?
yes,
And is it fair to say that when you first saw him, to however long you've known him, he is a workaholic, meaning he works all the time?
Objection, Your Honor. They, speculation, workaholic, whole characterization, so objection on the basis of relevance, they,
I think on relevance sustained.
You've seen him in studios in the morning time,
yes,
afternoons,
yes,
nights,
yes,
evenings.
yes,
You mentioned on direct examination that Jeffrey idolized Lil Wayne. You remember saying that?
yes,
And that there was this, these are my words, so you correct me. There's almost this belief, this feeling that Jeffrey had that he had to make it out.
as to defendant Williams' feelings.
Sustained.
You said on direct examination, meaning when you were questioned by Miss Love, that you believed that Jeffrey was going to be a
Objection, Your Honor.
popular.
Objection as to, one, relevance of the witness's belief about something he may have speculated about regarding defendant Williams.
All right, I don't know because I haven't heard the question. Could you tell me what the question is?
Sure. And it came out on direct that there was a belief by Mr. Sledge that Jeffrey was going to be a successful musical artist.
Okay, and.
Way back when.
What's your question gonna be?
That I'm going to follow that up. That was his drive. That was Jeffrey's mission, his drive.
Objection, that would be speculation as to defendant Williams' intent and.
No,
mindset.
he's asking about this witness's belief about that, but that's irrelevant.
Okay. All right. Now, have you ever observed anyone or have you observed Jeffrey when you first met him? When you got out of prison, I think May 2009, is that right?
yes, that's correct.
He played in a lot of first local clubs, is that right?
Yes,
And when I say local clubs, in the area of Atlanta.
yes,
And then you saw it go a bigger location, is that true?
yes,
And then multiple states?
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
This is his
Overruled.
career.
Go ahead.
yes,
And people, including you supported Jeffrey's musical career, didn't you?
Objection as to that compound question because it calls for speculation as to people supporting, defendant Williams, and it's not
This is
relevant.
personal observation.
Okay, sustained on other people and sustained on relevance.
Would you observe, meaning did you personally observe the local community in Cleveland Avenue come out to Jeffrey's shows?
Objection, relevant.
Sustained.
Would you see people, including yourself, put up signs that Jeffrey's performing?
Objection, relevant.
Sustained. Move on to another topic.
All the people that you were asked about, remember being asked about Trontavious Stevens
yes,
and Mr. Murphy,
yes,
Mr. Murphy, and Mr. Copeland,
yes,
and whoever you asked about, okay?
yes,
All those people were in poverty at the same time you and Jeffrey were, right?
Objection calls for speculation, and it is irrelevant, and it is compound as it relates to, at the same time, you and Jeffrey, and it assumes facts that are not in evidence.
Sustained.
Were you in poverty in 2009 when you met Jeffrey?
Overruled.
could you repeat the question, Mr. Steele?
Yes, sir. Were you poor? Were you struggling financially in 2009 when you got out of prison?
Yes.
All those other people that you're asked about on direct, were they struggling to your observation
Yes.
financially? Jeffrey gave you a job, right?
Yes.
And by that job, you called yourself, and I'm not saying that was not your title,
I object as to
but
the vagueness line of questioning regarding who gave him a job. When, what,
Overruled.
you were called head of security, right?
Yes.
And by that, what that meant was that you would assist others in
We've
locating.
established what it meant.
I'm sorry?
We've established on direct what it meant, what his duties were.
You would assist in any capacity needed to put on these shows.
Yes.
And you got paid by direct deposit, it's called. Is that what you, and if you don't know that term,
Yes.
you got a bank
Yeah.
deposit.
Transfer. Yeah.
Okay. And to your knowledge, Jeffrey offered other people jobs too from your area. To
Not
his
if
knowledge.
he says to your knowledge. That makes it not speculation. Overruled. Overruled.
Could you repeat it, Mr. Steele?
Yes, sir. To your knowledge, Jeffrey would give other job opportunities to other people too, right?
Yeah. Yes.
So instead of giving money, you knew Jeffrey had money by 2014, right?
Yes.
He was flying on planes, right?
Yes.
He had cars, right?
Yes.
He had places to live.
Yes.
He had multiple places to live.
Yes.
He had jewelry.
I mean, I think you've made your point, so just move on to the next question.
But instead of giving just cash to people, he gave people opportunity to earn that money, right?
Yes. Oh,
Okay. Now, do you have any evidence to tell this jury that Jeffrey ever told you or anyone else to harm another person?
no.
To your knowledge, and I am not including drug use, and I am not including gambling, but to your knowledge, did Jeffrey ever encourage?
You know what?
Encourage.
Apparently we need to take a restroom break, so let's break for a few minutes. Let's try to keep this one to 10 minutes or so. All right, y'all, we just took a fairly long recess an hour ago. I'm going to remind y'all to please, whether you have to right then or not, use the restroom during recesses so that we don't then have to take another bathroom break less than an hour later. Okay, I'm going to just start making y'all hold it if you can't do that, because we take plenty of breaks without interrupting the middle of somebody's testimony. Okay. So keep that in mind for the future, please. Go ahead and go if you need to.
A loaf of bread costs 50% more today than it did before the pandemic. Ground beef is up almost 50
Mr. Sledge, when you were permitted to go on the Travis Scott rodeo tour
Yes,
for the dates that the jurors heard,
yes,
Objection, Your Honor, that excludes facts that are not in evidence. There was not testimony from the witness that he went on that tour on those dates that he heard, that he talked about. Matter of fact, he specifically said he didn't go on all of them.
Okay, on generally some of the dates, could you rephrase it?
sure. Do you remember on direct examination when questioned by Prosecutor Love, you explained that you went on the rodeo tour with Jeffrey Williams and others?
yes,
And do you remember telling the jury that you actually were sent home before the tour ended? Do you remember that?
yes,
And you said for doing stupid stuff. Do you remember that?
yes.
And that stupid stuff was committed a crime, right?
Well, I didn't commit the crime, but
Okay.
it was to that occasion.
And Jeffrey said you and others are going home. True?
Speaking of words, it would be hearsay from the defendant that the witness is not, there's no rule that, there's no exception that would allow that hearsay.
Oh my God.
Sustained.
Why were you sent home?
Objection, asked and answered.
Who sent you home?
Jeffrey.
I'd like to show you, with the court's permission, I'd like to approach and show you what I've marked as Jeffrey Williams exhibit number 220A. And it's consecutive, meaning it goes in 220B,
Yes,
but it goes up to JW exhibit 220XX.
yes.
Your Honor, may I approach?
You may.
Your Honor, these are the ones that were, I think, can move a smattering.
No, he's gonna, no, that's, yeah,
May I approach?
you may.
May I approach?
Yes.
Do you mind if I just move this? I'm going to give this to the court reporter, okay?
Yes.
So it says JW, Jeffrey Williams, EXH is exhibit, and then you'll see the numbers followed by a letter. Do me a favor, flip through these. If you've seen these before with your lawyer and you recognize them, just tell us that as well. If you don't recognize some, put it to one side. If you recognize others, put it to a separate pile, okay?
Your Honor, and the question was if you've seen them before with your lawyer. That wasn't, I thought, the question that the court required.
If you've seen him before today,
If I seen him before today,
yeah, you may have seen them today. So if the only time you ever saw them was today, then put it aside as something you've never seen. What he means is if you saw it before today, is that right, Mr. Steele?
Yeah, yesterday, Your Honor.
If you said before yesterday, that's when he gave it to him.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
before yesterday. If you saw it before yesterday.
Mr. Sledge, I just want to ask you a question if I can. I'm not trying to interrupt you. Any of them that you saw put in one pile like you're doing? Any ones you didn't see put in another pile like you're doing? Okay, just keep them separate.
okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And then I know where you might be confused. It's going to be a composite exhibit and he will publish, to the extent this witness says he recognizes any of them, a smattering of those, not the entirety of them.
you done?
Yes,
Okay, Mr. Sledge, did you make two piles or one pile?
one pile.
And do you recognize what has been marked as Jeffrey Williams Exhibit number 222A through 220A through 220XX, or do not recognize them?
I recognize.
Your Honor, the question was whether or not he saw them before yesterday, and that was not asked, so I would ask that that be inquired.
Let's clarify, please.
Have you seen those items, all of them in that package, prior to seeing them with your lawyer yesterday?
I didn't see these with my lawyer yesterday, but I have seen these before.
In the past,
Yes,
before yesterday?
before yesterday, yes.
And are they true and accurate? That's just saying, do they look the way that you remember them when you first saw them?
Yes,
Did you see them, those items contemporaneously? That's a bad word. Did you see them at the time that these items were going on?
yes,
Okay. Your Honor, I move for the admission of Mr. Williams, and that would be, Your Honor, 2220A, as in Elisa, through 220, then double X.
All right, that's admitted.
Okay. Mr. Sledge, may I, with the court's permission, may I just
Yeah.
approach you? And I'm just going to show a couple
Yes.
to the jurors as a sample.
yes.
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. Sledge, is it fair to say that these exhibits, and I've numbered them all, but that they're all advertisements or posters for Jeffrey's work, concerts?
Yes,
And is it fair to say that they range from places all over the United States?
yes,
And when I say range from, shows, concerts all over the United States. Is that true?
yes, yes,
And the date range goes from, this is just from 2014 into 2015. Fair to
Yes.
say?
yes.
Okay. And if we could just pull up a couple. And this would be with Mr. Kokomo's and the court's permission. Jeffrey Williams Exhibit number 220DD. And it should come up on your screen, Mr. Sledge. Could be, or it's maybe to your left, but yes, it's above you too.
Yeah, I think that one might be out of batteries. That's on the.
Yeah, that's indeed.
Mr. Kokomo, can you clear the items on the middle of the screen?
It appears that there's some encryption, Fulton County, on all of the computers, so I'm not sure if it's anything that can be done.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. May I approach, Your Honor?
You may.
Let me just show you this to you. Mr. Sledge, may I approach you?
Yes,
I'm going to show you what's been admitted, Mr. Williams, or JW Exhibit 220DD. Take a peek at that. And is this a performance in Chicago, Illinois?
yes,
And is it, do you recognize those performers?
yes.
Tell the jurors who they are.
Birdman and Rich Homie Corn.
And anybody else?
Jeffrey Williams.
Okay. And this is the date. Do you see the date?
Yes, December 26th.
And Christmas time,
Yes,
2015?
yes,
To your knowledge and observation, and if you
No.
don't have one,
Yes.
I do not see, and so I would ask for clarification, if the testimony is that there is a 2015 on this exhibit that I'm looking at, because there is no year of 2015, as Mr. Steele has suggested, unless I'm missing it. If he could just show me, I'd be okay.
first of all,
Yes.
it comes from the state of Georgia when they subpoenaed Mr. Williams' Twitter account for 2014 and 15,
Okay.
A and B.
Your Honor,
If I go through all of them, you can see the dates in order.
Your Honor, there is no,
I mean, I think that the objection was that the date might not be, the year date might not be on this one, and I don't see it on there either, so.
All right.
But but he's already testified that the entirety of that composite exhibit shows dates from 2014 to 2015. So it's one or the other.
Your Honor, there is a difference that matters. It's a distinction with a difference, because what Mr. Steele is putting up is a picture of Defendant Williams with a young man whom evidence has come out did not associate with Defendant Williams
Now I have
after a particular time.
Okay.
Now I have a motion.
All right, so we'll take up the motion in just a minute. With regard to this particular exhibit, I don't see a date on it either. Is there a date on it of a year? If not, maybe
I'll do
pick a
the-
different exhibit.
Your Honor, my motion be reserved as timely
Yes,
and approach.
yes.
All right, Mr. Slayton, may I approach you?
Yes.
Let's just flip a exhibit here. How about the next exhibit? Jeffrey Williams exhibit number 220EE. Okay?
It says December 31st,
Well, let the
2015.
jurors see it first. Oh, there it is. Okay. All right, go ahead. You can look. It's the same.
It say December 31st, 2015.
New Year's
New
Eve
Year Eve.
and NYE. Do you know that stands for New Year's
The
Eve?
E, yes,
2015?
yes,
And did that come, this 220EE come shortly after, immediately after 220DD of Jeffrey Williams exhibit?
yes,
And this one, again, the date on 220DD is in Chicago, and it is on,
26,
thank you, tell the jurors.
December 26th.
And does this help you orient that December 26th on 220DD is 2014?
No,
Okay. Does it help you with 220EE? Is the date New Year's Eve going into 2015?
yes,
And who is performing on New Year's Eve, December 31, 2014, going into January 1st, 2015? Who are the performers?
Jeffrey Williams,
Who else?
Birdman, and Rich McCorn.
Okay. Thank you.
So, Your Honor, regarding the objection as to the year of 220DD, I believe that Mr. Steele said the year was December 26, 2015, and that was where the issue was. I'm asking if now it's understood that it's 2014, if we could.
I don't know that we have that understanding because we don't have evidence that, I mean, I realize these are handed to the witness in a particular order, but I don't know that there's any evidence to suggest that the order that they're in is a chronological one. So we still don't have any evidence as to which of the 2 years that other one was. We just know that this one that we're looking at right now, 220EE, is for a concert date, December 31st of 2015 with those performers.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
Did you want to ask him about another?
Yes, Your
Picture.
Honor. When you go through these, or you've gone through this, Mrs. Slade,
Yes,
are they performances, and the jurors will have that exhibit out with them. They'll be able to look at it. Are those performances all over the United States?
yes,
I'd like to, did your lawyer show you any potential exhibits yesterday or today?
He showed it to me today.
Then I shouldn't have said yes. I apologize. All right. I'm going to approach with a screenshot. If you need to see the actual potential exhibit, just say I don't recognize the screenshot, okay?
Yes.
Your Honor, I'm showing Mr. Williams number 46, 47, 49.
Right.
These are videos, but I was doing it this way, but if needed, Your Honor, Mr. Kokomo.
All right.
In the neighborhood, every delivery is a treat.
One pistachio for you, sir.
One strawberry proof, please.
Oh! Enjoy it.
Oh, perfect. By Weber, something minty?
Of course, it's a large.
A double. Lucky.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
47 and 46. And if you need to see the actual item, there's no problem with the court's permission.
It's only with 3.
One more time.
It's only with 3.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Have you, do you know what their screenshots from? Did you go over that with your lawyer?
I knew they was just professional people.
Okay. And have you seen those items before this week? Do you recognize those images from before this week?
Yeah, I probably seen them on. I think I seen all of them on the internet.
Okay. And when you say the internet, just be clear, that's
Instagram.
before. Okay, that's fine. But before this week, is that fair to say?
Yes.
Before yesterday
Before, yes.
or today? Okay. And I know you're not seeing the exact video. Do you need to see those videos? Or are you comfortable, confident? How about that? That you've seen these items before?
Yes, I have seen them before.
All right, Your Honor, I move for the admission. Mark Jeffrey Williams, 46, 47, 49.
Your Honor, with the court, I apologize. Would the court permit an inquiry into foundation? Because I heard the witness say, I think I've seen them. And then when Mr. Steele said, are you confident that you've seen them? He then said, because at first he said, I think I've seen them somewhere on the internet, Instagram. And then Mr. Steele said, are you confident? He said, yeah, I've seen them. So I would ask permission to inquire where it is or in what to further inquire as to his foundation.
No, because
basis for
he's now
knowledge.
said he's confident he's seen them.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you.
They're admitted.
Mr. Sledge, now, there may be something on the screen, sounds like, that's not anyone's doing, so this may not be the best way to play it, but we're going to try, okay?
Yes.
Your Honor, can Mr. Kokomo, well, before he publishes, I know the first one is Jeffrey Williams, 46. Let me ask you a couple of questions, Mr. Sledge.
Yes.
Do you remember the prosecutor asked you a lot of questions, or a number of questions, whatever they were, about if you know and if you've done the finger to the nose? You remember that?
Yes.
And she asked you to do it for the jurors, finger to the nose, right?
Yes.
Do you know who started? Do you personally know who started a finger across the nose, if anyone?
No.
God bless you. Is there anything about an individual taking their finger, like I'm doing, and going across my nose, that means that the person is committing crime?
Objection, Your Honor. Objection calls for a conclusion, a legal conclusion, and objection as to outside the province of this particular witness. It's an improper question to ask whether it suggests that they are committing a crime.
Okay, sustained.
With the court's permission, Mr. Kokomo, would you play Jeffrey Williams exhibit number 46? take a look at it, Mr. Sledge. I'll have a question for you. If it's not going to work because the item up over the screen, we'll just do it another time, okay?
Is that
Yes.
box that says something about a hard reset? Just click close.
We don't have access to click close on our computers.
Well, I don't- Okay. Maybe. So what, it's on this screen up here?
It's on all the other screens.
Okay, I mean, because IT. Okay, yeah, I guess it's just somebody, if you don't mind rolling the screen over where the jury and the witness can see it. Hmm?
If you turn that screen that way.
I mean.
There is a camera at the top. Of
Right.
that
Oh,
screen.
okay, stop, don't do that.
Well, you can
Just,
close the camera.
I mean, I don't know the answer to, if y'all are screen sharing from your laptops. Oh, okay, believe me, I do not know the solution to the IT issue. I don't know. Can you see enough of it around it? How big is it? How about?
What if we cover the?
That's fine. I mean, can you just come around the back, Mr. Short? It looks like it just kind of sits on top. Just take it off. And stick it on the back there somewhere where all it's going to see is the back.
No back.
It rolls, right?
So you can't turn it.
You're right here.
What if I just close the windows?
We'll try.
I mean, I can.
There we go. There you go. Look at you.
So that was, yes, okay, good job. So it was that one that was, okay. Thank you. Yeah. Embarrassment, a broken toe, who knows what else. All right, you may take the IT crown away from Miss Persifield since she's not here this week. We can worry about that later. All right, we now have the ability to see on a screen that is not covered by some strange IT notification.
Mr. Sledge, did you note the two basketball players in that screenshot?
Yes.
And do you know them to be professional players?
Yes.
And were they doing something similar to what you were asked to show the jurors?
Yes.
I'd like to show you Mr. Williams, number 47. Do you know who that person is?
Rod Wade.
Can you tell the jurors, please, into the microphone?
Rod Wade.
And who is Mr. Wave?
He's a rapper, an entertainer.
And that's W-A-V-E. And at the beginning, did you notice that young lady behind Mr. Wave?
No.
Okay. Look at the young lady right behind her, right there.
Oh, yeah, I see it right there now.
And is that similar to what you showed the jurors?
Yes.
And then 49, Mr. Williams, 49? Do you remember discussing with the jurors that you've seen Nickelodeon slime? Do you remember that?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be Jeffrey Williams, number 49. And do you recognize that person as a professional football player?
Yes.
You know who that person is?
I don't forgot his name, but
Okay. And was it similar to the wiping of the nose that you were asked a lot of questions about or some questions about earlier?
yes.
And did you hear him say slime?
Yes.
Tell the jurors why is slime significant to YSL?
Could you?
Is it evil?
No.
And the wiping of the nose, is that evil?
No.
I'd like to talk with you about a posting that you were shown, and I forget the state's exhibit number. Give me 1 second. Remember the exhibit that you all played for Mr. Sledge saying Ride to the King? You know the number?
Do you
play it for me? No, I'll use yours. Your Honor, it's already in evidence. Can I discuss with Mr. Sledge number 435?
Sure.
And that's state's exhibit, Your Honor.
Yes. 435Y, right?
Yes,
Yes.
that's what I'm being told. Could you? Thank you. Do you remember this, Mr. Sledge, being played this? I'm
Yes.
going to ask the Honorable Court to allow it to be played one more time by Ms. Knight, and then I'd like to ask you some questions, okay?
Yes.
Lie to your kids, you lie to your mama, but you get in the courtroom and in the investigation room and tell them punk ass people the God honest motherfucking truth. Pussy ass.
Now, Mr. Sledge, you told the district attorney when questioning that this is not a new statement. Do you remember something like that?
Yes.
And Had you heard this before from growing up? From where?
Growing up, I have heard it before though.
Okay. Have you seen it and listened to it or read it on the internet?
I think I have seen it on the internet.
And you related this and you made this statement which is now memorialized as State's Exhibit 435Y. Do you remember what was going on at that moment?
No.
Okay. I'd like to show you what's already in evidence, and it's the State's Exhibit number. Do you have Jeffrey Williams making, what number is that? I'd like to show you 447Y. Your Honor, it's already in evidence.
All right.
May we publish it?
You may.
Thank you.
So nigga, a lot of they mama, a lot of they kids, a lot of they brothers and sisters, they didn't get ready in the courtroom and tell God that it's true.
Fuck, nigga.
Don't get it. Y'all nigga need to get fucking killed, bro.
You snitching bitches.
From me and YSF.
Were you able to hear that, Mr. Sledge?
Yes.
And was that, you were asked if that was your voice by the district attorney on direct examination. Do you remember that?
Yes.
And your response was something effective, it sounds like you.
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember the date that was made?
No, I don't remember the date.
I'd like to ask you if you remember the other persons who are speaking in that video, okay?
Yes.
And was it Jeffrey Williams speaking?
Yes.
All right. And was he the one seen on the video?
Yes.
And was it Martinez Arnold speaking?
Yes, that's what it sounds like.
All right. And was the other person Mr. McMillan?
Yes, that's
Mr. McMillan.
yes.
All right. Now, I'd like to ask you if you can hear and listen to the very beginning of State's Exhibit number 437Y. Yes. Excuse me, 447Y. I'd like to ask you if you can hear at the very beginning, does it say, I'm a swear to God, it's the truth. I'm gonna tell a lie on God. I want you to listen, okay? If it says that.
Okay.
So nigga, a lot of they mama, a lot of they kids, a lot of they brothers and sisters.
Did you hear the beginning of that?
Yes.
Okay. And if you want headphones, the judge may allow that. The Honorable Judge Whitaker may allow that. But were you able to hear the person speaking?
Yes.
That beginning part? And did they say, I'm a swear to God, it's the truth, I'm going to tell a lie on God?
Yes.
Who said that?
Hang on. Yes, no.
Who said that?
I think that was, it sounded like my voice, but yes.
So at the beginning of this video, audio, is it fair to say that you're talking about going to swear to God, to tell the truth, and then tell a lie on God?
Yes.
Was this video something about people who lie,
Yes.
even though they're under oath?
They don't have to be on an oath to tell a lie.
Now, the next part that I'd ask Miss Knight, the Honorable Miss Knight, to play should be Jeffrey speaking. And it's similar to what you said in the video we just saw. Okay. There's Jeffrey saying, listen to this, okay? So, and I'm just saying, N, lie to their mama, lie to their kids, lie to their brothers and sisters, and get right in the courtroom to tell the God's honest truth. If you can just listen to that and tell me if that's what you hear Jeffrey say, okay?
Yes.
One more time. You can start beginning. I mean, it's so short. But can you stop it when that part ends? Jeffrey. Thank you. You listen for my cue? Okay.
So nigga, a lot of they mama, a lot of they kids, a lot of they brothers and sisters, they didn't get ready in the courtroom and tell God that it's true. Fuck, nigga.
Was that Jeffrey speaking?
Yes.
And is that similar to what you said on the other exhibit, which is escaping me, the exhibit number? 435Y, state's exhibit. Is that
Yes.
similar?
Yes.
And are those words that you said are similar words that you've heard before?
Yes.
Did you hear those words before Jeffrey said those words?
Yes.
And then on the next part of it, I'm not going to say it, but it's FN. Ain't going back and forth with you, bro. And then Jeffrey saying, or then another person saying, tell nothing but the truth, so help you God. If you can listen to that, okay?
Yes.
And tell the jurors who's saying that.
Yes.
Don't get it. Y'all niggas need to get fucking killed, bro.
You snitching bitches?
It's true. Fuck.
Thank you.
God that is true.
Fuck, nigga.
Don't get it. Y'all niggas need to get fucking killed, bro.
You snitching bitches?
From me and wife said.
Okay. Did you hear that? Tell,
Yeah.
tell nothing but the truth, so help you God.
Yes.
Is it accurate to say that in the criminal justice system, from your upbringing and your observation, people come in and lie under oath?
Objection, Your Honor. That would call for speculation about other.
He says from your observation. Of course, I don't know how he can know that.
You know it
So.
from personal experience.
The speculation until there's a foundation established for his ability to answer that. A basis for knowledge, just speculation about other people lying.
You can try to lay a foundation.
When you said this, when you were part of this, and when I say this, I'm talking about states 447Y, what's up there right now?
Yes.
Tell the jurors what you were talking about.
Talking about people lying.
Okay. Now, I want to show you, may I have one moment?
You may.
Your Honor, can Mr. Kokomo show the prosecutor? This will be Mr. Williams. Thank you. Exhibit number 255.
Okay.
I'm looking at 62 pages. Are we talking about 62 pages? That's what this is.
I'll shorten it, but I just did the dates from the,
That's the same 255 that we looked at before.
no, we cut
No,
out.
it's a different,
Yeah, we stopped in July 2015.
okay, and,
Starts, I think, December or November 2012.
okay. And you were just gonna pick a couple
Yes,
of pages.
I'm not going to go through six.
Can we, is it possible to have them just specify which two so I can look at those? Or do I need to look at
I was
62
going to
and
show it
guess?
to Mr. Sledge first, obviously, and then we could do that.
Do you know which ones you're gonna use?
No, because Mr. Sledge has to identify.
Okay. I mean, you know generally what,
Yeah. I'll use the one from November 2012, I believe, and I'll look at it, but there'll be two or three. That'll be it.
I mean, this is the same thing we looked at over lunch.
It appears to be, all 62 pages.
Yeah, no, I know.
Well, it's
I,
not,
I'm,
it's not accurate. It took out after July 15th.
okay, well.
That's what, but I didn't want to cut it short for the Mr. Sledge to look at, but then I was going to just, once he identifies a few, I was going to stop.
So
Okay, so can you come up here for a minute?
Now, do you see at the bottom, if any way to clear the, thank you. You see at the bottom, it says repost, whiz at,
Yes,
and then it says, it's tagging at Thugger1. You see that?
yes.
Do you know what a repost is?
Someone else posted it, and it was posted to somebody else posted.
So for an example, if I posted something a week ago and you liked it and you wanted to post it, what would happen?
I hit the repost app, and it'll let me repost it on another date.
So the state was saying that this was done and shown and reposted on January 26, 2015.
Yeah.
Do you remember that in the indictment?
Hang on just a second.
Just as to the characterization of that question, the test.
Okay, yes, I mean, the state would have asked a question and established that through a witness.
It's in the indictment as well. And if you're not familiar, do you remember this being in the
Okay,
indictment?
well, that's just an assertion.
Exactly. So I want to show you, are you ready? What number is it? Actually, can you show it to the prosecution first? What number is this going to be? It's going to be Jeffrey Williams, number 256.
Is this something new that's not in what you've sent before?
True.
Okay,
I'm trimming down.
that's fine. Oh, I got you. Okay.
Can Mr. Kokomo approach Mr. Sledge?
Yes, you may.
Mr. Sledge, is that okay?
Yes.
Just take a look at this, telling me whether you can recognize it and you could hear it as well, just to make sure, but don't make it loud enough for the jurors yet.
So, Your Honor,
Prior to that being displayed, what we have not heard is the sound in that video, because this is the first time we've seen it. So
Right.
we'd ask that before anything be done with it, the state be allowed an opportunity to hear what is being said in that particular video, which is a little different.
I don't know if it's different or not.
It is, I'm looking at it, it is not the same exact thing that we just
Okay.
put up.
Okay. Then I guess this will be where we break for the evening.
Your Honor, it's 11 seconds. I mean, if that matters.
Well, or we can see if Miss Love can hear it without. Do you want to step out into the hall? That would be easier than excusing all of them to the, all right. She'll be right back. We'll sit for just a sec and I'll let y'all go soon.
Go with your computer.
And Mr. Steele, estimate for me how long you think the rest of your cross is going to take.
30 minutes.
Do y'all want to stay for, who else has, if anybody has going to have cross for this witness? Anybody? Okay. Okay. Do y'all want to just, well, do y'all want to stay 30 more minutes? Although we'll have a redirect on Monday, but yes, I have some thumbs up for 30 minutes. Lots of nods for, okay.
The only issue I just want to make the court on the, on the
It's always something.
on the 62
Yeah.
item, that's the only thing I have to go over, which is going to take a little more time. So I just want you to, I won't finish is my
All
point.
right, yeah, we'll get 30 more minutes and then we'll see where we are. Okay, all right. Then I guess he's already seen it.
Yes.
So go ahead and ask whatever you need to ask.
Mr. Sledge, have you seen what is now marked as Mr. Williams number 256? Have you seen that before?
Yes,
And is it accurate? And does it depict the way it was when it was first filmed or, yeah, filmed and audioed?
yes.
And Your
Any-
Honor, two things. I object on the basis of the vagueness of the question. Have you seen it before? I don't know if that means before he was shown by the
Well, can you
lawyer.
clarify that?
Were you present when that was made?
Yes, I was
Or
present.
is your voice on there?
Yes, my voice is on there.
Is it the same as, and I always forget, 447?
Oh,
447Y that was shown to the jurors, the repost?
yes, my voice on there.
Okay.
Okay, so on 256, JW 256, is that what you were just asking the questions about he was present for? Okay, all right.
With
Are
that,
there-
I have no
okay.
objection if he's saying he was there.
All right, go ahead.
Your Honor, with the court's permission, Mr. Kokomo will publish Mr. Williams number 256.
All right.
A lot of their kids, a lot of their brothers and sisters, they didn't get ready in the courtroom to tell the God honest truth.
Fuck, nigga.
Don't get it.
Bro.
Y'all niggas need to get fucking killed, bro.
You snitching bitches.
From me and YC.
That's why God-
So, nigga, a lot of their mama,
Loud
a lot of their kids, a lot of their brothers and sisters, they didn't get ready in the courtroom to tell the God honest truth.
Fuck, nigga.
Don't
God
get it.
got the fuck with you, bro.
Y'all niggas need to get fucking killed, bro.
You snitching bitches.
From me and YC.
Mr. Sledge, did you hear your voice?
Yes,
The voice of Mr. Jeffrey Williams and the face of Mr. Jeffrey Williams?
yes,
Did you hear the voice of Mr. McMiller?
yes,
Did you hear the voice of Mr. Martinez, also known as Duke?
yes,
Is it the same exact video that was played earlier as the repost?
yes.
And on Jeffrey Williams number 256, I'd like you to tell the jurors, it's small writing, if you could read it to them, what date at the bottom right was this made?
January 4th, 2015.
And on January 4th, 2015, what was Jeffrey Williams' relationship like with Donovan Thomas from your personal observation?
Objection vague.
Overruled.
They had a great relationship.
And does this video on January 4th, 2015 have anything to do from your own personal knowledge from being in it about Donovan Thomas or threatening some witness or anything?
No,
Objection, one is compound, so I don't know which part of that he's asking about. And then the second part, he is speaking to the intent of defendant Williams when he says, does it have anything to do with threatening something?
Okay,
Asking
well,
his
it's his personal knowledge, and while Mr. Steele does ask long questions sometimes, he has a lot of clauses in there. I don't believe it was a compound question, just had a lot of descriptive clauses. So overruled.
So the indictment, and if you don't remember, we'll show it to you. No one's trying to keep anything from you. Says that this was done 16 days after the killing of Mr. Williams, that it was reposted. But this was made 6 days before, God forbid, the killing of Mr. Thomas, right?
yes,
Now, if you can look at the very top right-hand side, you see where it says watch your post. You see that at the top?
yes,
And then underneath it, it says watch your post. And then it says best said at MPA Duke, DUKE 1, the number 1, said it first. 3 exclamation points. You see that?
yes.
Who, to your knowledge, is MPA Duke 1?
Mr. Arnold.
Martinez Arnold?
Yes.
And then it says video by at Thugger1 pound YouTube pound Young Thug pound Thugger1 pound Urban Post. You see all that?
Yes.
Okay. And when it says best said at MPA Duke 1 said it first, that's Mr. Arnold
Yes.
saying it first.
Yes.
Objection, Your Honor, as to that.
Yeah, sustained as to that.
All right. Now, I want to ask you other questions if I can. Before January 4th, 2015, were you familiar with this type of statement?
Yes.
Now, if a witness, when it says at the end, the prosecutor said, y'all should be killed. Let me make sure I got, hold on one second. Y'all should be killed, and that's from me and YSL. Do you remember that?
Yes.
If I didn't quote it perfectly, something to that effect?
Yes.
Okay. From being there and being a participant in this video, which is 256, Jeffrey Williams 256. What do you believe should happen to a witness who lies about someone in trial?
Sustained.
Okay. All right. Let me ask you this. You were released from prison from the drive-by shooting. Remember, the jurors heard a lot about that, April 2015?
Yes.
And is it fair to say you were released in year 2019?
Yes.
And when you were released from prison, you needed a job, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay. You were financially depleted. You didn't have much money?
No.
All right. And is it fair to say that Jeffrey at that time was even more popular than he was in 2015?
Yes.
And did Jeffrey offer you a job?
Yes.
Was it conditional? Did you have to promise something?
No.
How about no more crime?
No.
Are you withdrawing that objection?
Did Jeffrey tell you you can't commit crimes?
That right there is hearsay.
Sustained.
When you were on tour with Jeffrey and from your personal observations, I'm not asking you what other people said or anything. Did you ever observe people who would steal from other people, from stores or anything like that, and Jeffrey would find out about it and repay those people?
Yeah.
Objection, Your Honor, relevance.
Sustained.
Well, I think it's relevant. You're the leader of a supposed organization.
Your Honor, I object on the basis of whatever the speaking objection is about to be.
I think it's relevant, more than relevant,
Your Honor,
to the conduct after this trial.
his character, he's trying
That's
to
not-
get into character
Sustained.
evidence.
All right. Do you remember seeing in the days before Donovan Thomas was killed? Do you ever remember seeing, personally seeing Mr. Kenneth Copeland with an Infinity vehicle?
No.
When you drove Mr. Copeland to the police department on the early morning hours of January 11th, 2015, is that true?
Yes.
And your significant other, the mother of your child, was with you, as well as your youngest child at that time, right?
It was he ain't my youngest child, he my oldest son.
Apologize. Okay. And Mr. Copeland didn't have a car there, right? That's why you drove him? Am I correct?
He didn't have a car there.
Do you remember at all whether Mr. Copeland asked you to pick him up and drive him to Jeffrey Williams' house with you for safety?
I don't remember that.
Okay. Do you know how, as you sit here today, do you remember how Mr. Copeland, if you know, got to Jeffrey Williams' home on January 10th, 2015?
I don't know.
All right. Has Jeffrey ever paid for your lawyer fees?
No,
Has he ever paid for your bond?
no,
Your Honor? I believe except for the, I have to break down the
Yeah.
62, which I probably can't do in a short period of time. I don't have any other questions.
Okay, well, so is your plan to,
I'll try to do it, with the court's permission, I'll try to do it, Mr. Wright, and figure out if there's a quick way to get it through. I'm not going to speak with Mr. Slade. I don't mean any disrespect, but I'll go through his.
Your Honor, would the court permit outside of the jury's presence for the question to be placed upon the witness so that the court can hear?
sure, yeah,
fine with
that
me.
may be a better way to do it. Okay, all right, so we are going to break for the day and for the weekend, and I am going to remind all of you to not talk about the case with anybody. Don't let anybody talk about it with you. You are only supposed to decide this case based on the evidence admitted inside this courtroom, so don't conduct any research on your own. Don't try to find out anything on the internet or from old school sources or from other people, from social media. Don't do research about the law. Do not read, watch, listen to any accounts of this trial online, in print, television, otherwise, radio, social media, anything like that. And leave your notes in the jury room, and we will see you on Monday at 9. Y'all have a great weekend. You stay here with us for a minute.
Oh, okay.
We're going to ask you some more questions.
Oh, okay. You better say something. I'm trying to go. They charged it for Monday. It need to be charged.
All right, good. Okay, go ahead and attempt.
Okay, Mr. Kokomo, have those. Okay. Mr. Sledge,
Yes,
I'm going to ask the court, there's no jury here, but we're still in trial, okay?
yes,
I'm going to ask with the court's permission to approach you and show you, and I'm just going to pick out a few, and just tell me whether you have ever seen these postings online before this week, okay? Is that okay?
yes, yes.
And I'm going to target a couple, but it's going to take me a moment, but I think I could target a few.
Hey, Your
Okay.
Honor, if Mr. Steele would simply apprise the court and counsel for the state which ones he's targeting and approaching him with, so we could at least write it down.
I'm going to do
he'll
that. Can Mr. Kokomo and I approach this for a minute, Your Honor?
Yes.
Mr. Sledge, can we come to you?
Yes.
So we have a small screen.
And just be real clear of exactly what you're asking him, not post like this.
We're gonna, Mr. Kokomo is gonna show you. Can you pull up the one that it's, it says October. It's, December. Yeah. If you have not seen this, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Okay.
And
If you have not seen this before, you'll just tell us I haven't read it, I haven't seen it, okay?
Yeah.
If you have seen it and read it, just tell us I have seen it and read it.
Your Honor, could Mr.
Yeah.
Steele place just on the record the one he just identified for Mr. Kokomo, but I
Yeah,
could
in
barely
some
hear.
way. Or just
Just say
spin
it.
around and show Miss
Yeah,
Love.
if I could
This
see it.
This is DMAC.
Just spin around and show Miss Love. Will be easier than trying to some people's names or tags or whatever are kind of hard to read out.
If you have not seen this, just make it clear. If you have seen it, just make it clear. I'm just going to read it, okay?
Okay.
And it is, I'm just orienting myself. This is Mr. Williams' exhibit number 255A. And it's down here. It says, DMAC got me to banging at DMAC to banging. And you see the date?
Yes,
December 27, 2014.
yes.
And this is me, I'm not reading verbatim, okay? And AN lie to they mama, brother, sister, and kids, but get to the courtroom and tell the God's honest truth, question mark, question mark, question mark. I don't get it. Or ION get it, hyphen at Young Thug. You see that?
Yes.
If you can remember it, if you can, it's fine, and just tell us, have you seen that before this week?
Have I seen it
That particular post.
this week?
No.
Oh, anytime.
This week.
I can't even remember exactly what day I seen it, but I don't seen this before.
You have seen it before.
Yes.
Have you seen it
Judge,
before?
is he talking about that?
This
Have you
specific
seen
post.
DMAC got to me to banging on
Yes.
December 27th? That post. You
Yes,
saw that
I don't
post?
saw this post
All right.
before.
Have you seen it before this week, just to make sure?
Yes, yes.
Okay. We're gonna have to mark that. Can you pull up the one that says, yeah, she dies. You know that one? Okay, I'm gonna leave that. And if you don't know it, I have my notes. Can I step back just 1 second there? No.
Mhm. Yeah. This seems to be a convenient time. I don't know, is this like a schedule? matters. Mr. Wright has brought it to my attention that he's now under subpoena, a state subpoena. However, he is serving as Mr. Sledge's lawyer, and he's obviously been sitting in here. And I think it would be appropriate for him to continue to sit in here for the remainder of Mr. Sledge's testimony, since he's serving as his lawyer. Is
I
the state
agree.
gonna have any problem with that?
Not at
All
all.
right, and then y'all aren't gonna make any kind of, okay, all right, that's fine. Just wanted to clarify that. Okay. And is this like a cautionary potential subpoena, or is he gonna, are you gonna let him know when you expect him to? He's got other business, obviously, after he finishes as his attorney role. Will you let him know when he needs to be back?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
All right, that's the only reason I'm asking. Okay. All right, are y'all ready with your next one?
We'll just do the one then, Your Honor.
Okay. Well,
We're gonna
great.
call
then.
it 225.
Okay, and it'll just be that
No,
one.
I said it wrong.
255.
255. Even.
Just 255.
We'll call it 25 with the court's permission, and then we'll just start with that on whatever you tell us.
All right, and it'll just be that one, and then
And we'll
you suspect
rearrange
you'll
it.
be pretty much done at that point.
I actually turned the page. I have more, but yes, it's not much.
I mean,
It'll be
that's
15 minutes,
okay.
20 minutes.
All right,
But I'm gonna start with that, and we'll make it just one, like exhibit,
Okay.
one thing. So we'll crop it.
that works.
So the only, tweak now that is that 255A consists of is DMAC two-bated.
There's no A though. There's no.
Yeah,
A.
it's not, it's just gonna be 255. But yes, is
And-
that right?
And it's December 27, 2014.
All right, thank you.
That's the one we'll use.
Okay,
I just have one thing to note for the record,
okay. Are we finished with Mr. Sledge for the day?
except Mr. Wright. I'd like to stay just for a minute.
Okay, so are we finished with Mr. Sledge?
I am finished with him. He could stay on whatever the court wants, but yes, I'm not asking him any questions.
You may step out and we'll see you at 9 on Monday.
Okay, thank you.
And I'm sure Mr. Wright will be out in a minute if you want to wait for him.
So it's not my desire to say that a prosecutor or any lawyer or anybody told someone don't say something in front of the jury. But I cleared that with Mr. Wright, and I want the court to note that the state never put us on notice. It's not Brady, because with due diligence, I found out about it. So I'm not saying it's a violation of Brady, but it's just not the way, if believed, it's not the way that I was understand that lawyers conduct themselves. So I'm sure that I wasn't there. I'm sure that Ms. Love will say whatever.
Hey, I'm Ronnie Mund. We were in the middle of a cross-country move. When everything happened, we thought, oh my God, we're gonna have to keep flying back and forth to New York.
With Mr. Wright beforehand, and he was on the actual Zoom. So I just want you to know that I didn't speak with Mr. Sledge without Mr. Wright. So
Okay.
thank you.
Just a small follow-up. And of course, Mr. Wright will have the ability to say what Mr. Wright recalls, but I believe that Mr. Wright informed Mr. Steele before Mr. Steele asked that question, that he has no recollection of that ever being stated by me to Mr. Sledge. But I'll let Mr. Wright speak for Mr. Wright. And I inquired, I know that I would not say that. So whatever Mr. Sledge said, Mr. Sledge said. I don't know how the question was posed. I don't, that's all right. It'll happen on redirect. We can flesh it out. But this notion about, all of that, Mr. Steele can ask whatever questions he wants to ask, and Mr. Sledge can answer however he feels he needs to. I'll handle that on redirect.
Okay. Yes, sir.
I have indicated to both sides as I'm trying to stay calling this balls and strikes and
Right.
stay neutral, but my client has repeated to me that that's how he heard it. I indicated to both sides that I heard her indicate that she was not going to be asking him, as in she clearly didn't like the subject matter, but I did not hear her affirmatively try to tell him not to disclose or say or secret it. So it's a slightly different interpretation of the non-lawyer and lawyer.
Sure.
And I think everyone knows I'm the fence through and through. I would have no problem being able to say that, oh, that's exactly what she said. But I will not simply say it because it would be helpful.
Of course not. I would never expect, of course, ourselves out again, but
It was at least a hot topic that it wasn't something that I thought the state was going to go into, but I can't say I have a memory of her saying the specific instruction to Sledge that he remembers. But my client does, that's how he recalls it. So my client's not being untruthful in terms of.
well, we're not gonna get into whether you think he's truthful or not, because that wouldn't be appropriate. But you can say whatever you need to say when asked. And I appreciate you letting court know and letting both sides know what it is that your recollection is.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So do you think that Mr. Wright will be shortly on the heels of Mr. Sledge?
Right on the heel.
All right. So you should just plan to stick around then, and then hopefully we'll be able to release you after that.
I will not keep Mr. Wright on. I respect.
Okay. All right. Anything else? Sounds out again. Maybe it's back. Is it back? Allegedly, y'all, they are coming early on Monday morning to replace either the entirety or something in this box. I think they've already tried several things. This is some new thing. We'll see, but
If I buy anything, will they reimburse me?
what you mean?
If I buy some.
Who is we?
I said.
Court administration?
Yeah, they, the people that are responsible for this, will they reimburse me if I buy some?
Miss Love, I cannot guarantee anything like that. I am still trying to get reimbursed for stuff from like 2 years ago. So, I mean, I wouldn't hold your breath. I wouldn't do that. If you plan to buy something, it'll just be for the good of this trial. It won't be. No.
Your
All
Honor,
right.
you
Yes.
allowed me to continue, so I don't have to ask the jurors to leave, but I made a motion,
Oh, yes, yes.
and Mr.
Thank you
Matthews
for reminded me of that.
And what happened was, and please check the record, but what I remember happening was Ms. Love makes a speaking objection, comments, puts her own testimony before the jury, and states that the testimony, that there's no evidence, and it's already been proven, and I know that there's a strained relationship between Williams and Rich Homie Quan. That is wrong. Rich Homie Quan has given interviews shortly after January 10th, 2015, all the way up to 2024, consistently how close he and Jeffrey Williams are. The prosecution said that Rich Homie Quan, his real name is Mr. Lamar, that he was coming to court and he would be testifying. And the prosecution did not call him. He was on a short list. He was under subpoena. They did not call him. I have a good faith belief. They didn't call him because, what? I'm sorry?
Yeah, you need to.
I have a good faith belief that the state did not call him because he gave exculpatory information about his relationship with Jeffrey Williams. So for the prosecutor to then say in front of the jury, and please check the record to make sure that what I'm saying is what was said by Ms. Love, but I immediately would have made this motion if you did not allow me to preserve it. And a lawyer can't tell the testimony. This is what happened. Brian Steele knows this. That is untruthful. In fact, I know the opposite.
Uh-huh. All right. So my recollection is that Miss Love said that the evidence shows that after a certain date, one of the people in this picture no longer hung around Mr. Williams.
Okay, good.
That's a closer
That is not true.
account.
What the state was trying, their crazy theory, in my opinion, is that in the fall of 2014, Mr. Williams somehow cared about Rich Homie Kwan signing with a third party. His name is Mr. Brian Williams, which is Birdman.
Right.
And somehow that because Donovan Thomas said, no, Mr. Rich Homie Kwan, don't sign with Birdman, that Jeffrey Williams has now a motivation to kill Donovan Thomas. None of that comes out. And it's untruthful. As you saw, they are playing together, they being Jeffrey Williams and Rich Homie Kwan, on New Year's of
Well, you know what?
2014.
There are plenty of band members who play together and hate each other. So them playing together doesn't establish anything. But yeah, that's all. Yeah. So Miss Love, you maintain that it is in evidence. So can you
That there was,
what part of the evidence and who said it?
yes, and I would ask if the court has in front of it my exact words, or if there's a way
I
to
don't
grab.
have
Okay,
your exact words in front of me, but I'm sure we can get them by Monday.
okay.
But it was
So what I was referring to was the testimony that has been given that after a certain date, at least one witness, there may have been two, testified that the relationship between one person in that photograph and defendant Williams changed. I can definitely say that I can definitely say that apart from that testimony that the jury has already heard, personally, I definitely have a great faith basis
okay, but that's
for
not what
saying
you
it, but
said.
that is not what I said. I said what I was referring to the second part of what was asserted by counsel.
Do you know which witness or witnesses it would have been? Because I think Miss Weaver's probably transcribed a good bit of this, and she's pretty fast. I'm happy to ask her to.
I believe it would have been Mr. Thomas Sr., who was asked about the relationship between one of the people in the photograph or having seen them after a certain time, or that it was strained. That's why I'm asking. And then I'm not certain whether Detective Dennis talked about it. That I'd have to look back.
Okay. Why don't you look back? I mean, did Mr. Thomas Sr. testify for any real length of time? I mean,
He
would
was
that
there
be
for a
easy?
day.
Okay, that'd be easy enough for Miss Weaver to put together. I'd imagine Mr.
And-
Dennis testified for longer.
Yes,
All
but
right. Maybe you could look at your notes on that and maybe pinpoint that more directly, and then I could ask Miss Weaver, with
I
some
will.
parameters, maybe.
And I'll also just check with the team because it's not been a topic that has been discussed. So we've discussed those things anyway, and I can clarify because it was not. It was, I think that was Miss Hilton's witness, so she'd probably have a better memory than me. But the reason that I asked exactly what I said is because I think I chose my words carefully before I said them.
Okay.
And I want to make certain of exactly what I said, and I want to point back to exactly what I was referring to.
Okay. And Miss Winfrey over the weekend will be kind enough to find us that little portion of Miss Love's statement that resulted in Mr. Steele having a motion and saying, can I just bring it up later and me saying yes, and then we'll take all that up first thing on Monday.
Okay.
Thank you.
And
Okay.
the point is, a lawyer, I do remember the father attempting to say things like that, but he couldn't explain later photographs, whatever, that goes to weight.
What?
But the issue is a lawyer to tell a jury what the evidence is testifying. It's inappropriate.
Your Honor, what I think was inappropriate was attempting to mislead the jury by asserting that a photograph that Mr. Steele was aware was taken, or at least that particular concert or whatever, that was not a December 2015 concert as he stated to Mr. Sledge, and Mr. Sledge said yes. Even after Mr. Steele put up the next flyer or whatever it was, and led Mr. Sledge by saying, this happened December 2014.
That
New
was
Year's
actually
Eve 2015.
that was 2015.
That was it was going into 2015. The second one.
So that was 2014.
Yes,
Okay.
the first one was 2014.
All of those.
And so when Mr. Steele said, the reason that I said that I objected the way I did is that Mr. Steele said that posting that was defense exhibit.
So when people say New Year's Eve 2015, they actually mean December 31st, 2014.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, Your Honor.
Yes.
That's what they meant.
So, Your Honor.
But
and
Your
what
Honor, may I
happened-
finish
excuse me
before
just one
he's
second.
allowed? May I finish
Just-
before Mr.
Okay,
Steele is
okay,
allowed?
hang on. Yeah, let's see what Ms. Love was saying. Go ahead.
So, at the time that Mr. Steele put up the flyer and suggested before this jury that flyer was for an event in December 2015,
Yeah.
that I objected because, and what I didn't say, what I wanted to say, which was he knows full well that wasn't December 2015, but I said that there has been evidence of something different.
Okay. Well, that probably wasn't the best way to handle it.
And if I'm not saying I did, but I may have misspoke. If I misspoke on a date, I wasn't doing it deliberately. And the objection is that shouldn't be 2015. Are you sure, Mr. Steele, or Your Honor? I don't think that's 2015. And the
I don't think that
evidence
that's a-
shows,
No.
and the evidence shows that there was no relationship. They weren't speaking. That's what I'm complaining about.
Yeah. She said the evidence shows. Okay, I mean, that may
I
not
wanna
have
know
been
what
the
I said.
absolute best way to handle it. And I do wish that both of y'all, I mean, y'all clearly get under each other's skin and try to divorce from the case the fact that each of you is the attorney handling certain evidence or certain witness, because honestly, both of you probably would do your tasks for your clients better if you could focus a little less on the fact that y'all get on each other's nerves, okay? I mean, you do not have to, it does not have to be like a gladiator fight every time anybody says anything when it's the two of you. It doesn't come off well for anybody, honestly. So that's just my 2 cents worth.
Thank you, Your
I'd
Honor.
also like to say that
I
every
appreciate it, Your
evidentiary objection does not need to be made, even if it's a valid one. So think about that too.
Yes,
All
Your
right.
Honor.
Anything else?
Your Honor, just that I'll just await Miss Winfrey's
Okay.
snippet.
Okay. All right. I hate to do this, y'all. I can't stand getting up really early in the morning either, but I think we have enough things to do before the jury joins us that we're going to need to do 8:30 on Monday. And maybe I should just tell the jury from now on 9:30 on Monday, but I haven't. I told them 9. So we're going to see each other at 8:30. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. All right, everybody have a good weekend.
Mr.
Choke no joke. This circus will never end. I'll be back later. I dropped the video earlier. If you just tuned in, I dropped the video earlier. Rest in peace, Dame Dash Teeth. Go check it out. All right. Got something dropping tonight on Comedy Hype as well. Choke no joke. You know what it is. Much love, membership gang. I see you, Talisa Renee. All right. D to Diva Wilson. Choke no joke. I'll be back. One.